The video, brief at just 14 seconds, ignited a firestorm across the internet and hip-hop community. In that tiny clip, King Harris, the son of T.I. and Tiny, did something that crossed boundaries almost universally considered untouchable in the culture. He stood in a cemetery, not just any cemetery, but the resting place of 50 Cent's mother, Sabrina Jackson. Far from showing respect, he laughed, pointed, joked, and treated the graves as props for content. Leaning into the camera, he delivered lines dripping with contempt. "Y'all legends ain't that legendary to me." The moment the footage surfaced, reactions poured in from every corner. Even those who harbored no love for 50 Cent agreed. This went too far. It wasn't playful trolling or harmless clout chasing. It felt like a deliberate violation, striking at something sacred and deeply personal. In hip-hop, certain codes remain unwritten but universally respected. Graves, mothers, family. Crossing them isn't just bold, it's incendiary. Sabrina Jackson occupies a singular place in 50 Cent's story. She raised him under extreme hardship, shielding him from a dangerous environment until her tragic death when he was only 8. 50 has often credited her survival instincts and guidance for his ability to endure life-threatening situations, betrayals, and the relentless grind of the industry. Disrespecting her memory is not a mere diss. It's an attack on the core of who 50 is. Those close to him described a rare shift when the clip emerged. He didn't explode in immediate rage. Instead, a deep, calculating silence fell over him, a quiet more threatening than any public outburst. Witnesses say he muttered under his breath, voice low and measured. Nah, he didn't just do that. That calm, insiders note, signaled that something irreversible had begun. The explosive nature of the incident intensified with speculation that King wasn't acting purely on impulse. Whispers quickly spread that someone with a grudge against 50 Cent had guided him to that exact location and encouraged the behavior. This wasn't youthful rebellion. The cemetery wasn't a public landmark stumbled upon by accident. Someone had provided the address, context, and even possibly suggested tone, words, or camera angles. It was strategy cloaked in naivety. The feud between 50 Cent and figures from his past runs deep, stretching back to the early 2000s when clashes over dominance, labels, and street credibility reshaped the industry. Sources suggested that a particular older figure, whose circle had been dismantled by 50 years ago, saw in King a perfect proxy. A young, impressionable artist willing to risk everything to prove himself. King has long sought to forge an identity separate from his parents' fame. Raised in comfort, with security and resources most could only dream of, he rejected those privileges in pursuit of a street-aligned persona. Fans watched him enter public spats, boast about experiences that didn't align with his actual upbringing, and insist on being real in ways that invited scrutiny. Behind the scenes, family and friends worried about the influences around him. Older men, well beyond his age, stroked his ego, feeding his need for validation and teaching him that boldness, not caution, commanded respect. In their eyes, King wasn't a child to protect. He was a tool to stir chaos, provoke rivals, and resurrect old grudges. T.I. and Tiny had worked tirelessly to give their son a different path, shielding him from streets' dangers, providing stability, and steering him toward productive outlets. But King pushed back, craving the kind of respect that can't be bought or inherited, the respect earned through perceived toughness. When family intervened, he dismissed them. "I'm grown now," or "I ain't gonna be no soft celebrity kid." Advice from outsiders was ignored. He gravitated toward voices that amplified recklessness, not restraint. The cemetery incident crystallized those influences. The location, the words, the tone, it was clear coaching had occurred. Someone knew precisely which buttons to press to provoke 50 Cent, leveraging King as the instrument of their vendetta. The backlash was immediate and widespread. Hip-hop has lines even rivals won't cross. Graves and mothers are sacred. When the clip leaked, the Harris household reportedly descended into chaos. T.I. was furious, his reaction visceral, punching walls, shouting about the gravity of what King had done, questioning if his son truly grasped the consequences. Tiny was emotional, heartbroken. Siblings paced, unsure how to respond. They understood that 50 Cent doesn't forgive offenses of this nature lightly. T.I. attempted to reach King, but calls and texts went unanswered. King, caught in the momentum, seemed unaware or unconcerned of the damage being done, possibly filming more content under the same harmful influences, convinced it would cement his status in the culture. 50 Cent's response evolved once he realized the larger picture. He doesn't target children directly, but adults who manipulate them. That's different. Recognizing the orchestration shifted his perception from a childish stunt to something darker, intentional, and personal. Insiders say he immediately connected the dots. The phrasing, the location, the timing. It wasn't accidental. It was calculated. Someone had weaponized a young man's ambition to strike at the one place 50 Cent holds sacred. The internet exploded with debates. Was King aware of the full weight of his actions? Had he been manipulated? Or was this the result of years trying to earn credibility through risky, reckless behavior? The incident highlighted deeper issues in hip-hop's ecosystem. Young artists, especially those born into fame, sometimes pursue authenticity in toxic directions. Mentors or figures from older generations exploit these impulses, using youth as tools to settle scores. King's story isn't unique. Many have fallen into similar traps, lured by validation and attention without recognizing the stakes. T.I. has struggled to redirect his son, but the allure of street validation proved too powerful. The cemetery clip was the flashpoint, but the buildup had been years in the making. Ignored warnings, escalating bravado, and reinforcement from those who saw potential in chaos. The fallout rippled outward. Other artists weighed in, some condemning the act outright, others highlighting the irony in a culture that glorifies boundary pushing until it hits home. 50, typically fast with memes and social media jabs, initially remained measured. His silence carried more weight than any public post. When he did respond, it was deliberate, signaling that some lines, once crossed, bring irreversible consequences. For King, the incident became a harsh lesson. Clout and perceived toughness can rapidly morph into vulnerability and danger. What began as a bid to assert independence had instead ensnared him in a narrative controlled by others. In the broader view, the clip highlighted generational tension within hip-hop. Fathers attempt to guide and protect. Sons chase identity and credibility. Rivals exploit both for personal gain. T.I.'s regret underscores a universal truth in celebrity culture. Shielding family from public missteps is nearly impossible. King's impulsivity, amplified by outside influence, demonstrates the risks young artists face when fame and ego collide. And 50 Cent, as always, turns personal slights into strategic leverage, proving that patience, observation, and timing often outweigh immediate emotional response. The incident also revealed the fragility of reputation in the digital age. Every clip, post, or story can spiral beyond control. King's moment at the cemetery is now immortalized online, a permanent reflection of a choice that combined youthful recklessness, external manipulation, and cultural misjudgment. Hip-hop's audience is unforgiving when sacred boundaries are violated, and the clip became the central reference point for debates about respect, strategy, and consequences. For T.I., the stakes were personal. He saw the ambition in his son, but the means and methods alarmed him. He witnessed the influence of mentors and peers who encouraged the audacious stunt, realizing how quickly a child's choices could spiral into irreparable harm. For King, the incident marked a turning point. The public now scrutinizes his every move, measuring authenticity against recklessness, bravery against irresponsibility. Ultimately, the cemetery video became more than a 14-second clip. It crystallized the collision of ambition, manipulation, and consequence. It revealed the intricate web connecting family, fame, mentorship, and rivalry, illustrating how quickly young artists can be pulled into battles they neither understand fully nor control. It forced T.I. to confront the limits of guidance, protection, and influence, while demonstrating the potency of 50 Cent's strategic patience in responding to threats, not with immediate retaliation, but with controlled, deliberate action. In the end, the clip served as a harsh, public lesson on the perils of impulsivity, the dangers of external influence, and the unforgiving nature of hip-hop culture. For King Harris, it was a moment that would define his public perception, test familial bonds, and expose the thin line between ambition and self-sabotage. For T.I., it became a reminder that parenting in the spotlight demands vigilance, foresight, and the painful recognition that some lessons can only be learned the hard way. And for 50 Cent, it was a confirmation that patience, observation, and calculated restraint remain the most powerful weapons in a culture that thrives on instant reactions. In a black SUV parked on a dimly lit back street, King Harris sat alone, headphones on, scrolling through voice notes that would alter the course of everything he thought he knew about respect, legacy, and consequence. The first note rattled him, a casual nudge to push B. Boundaries, a spark that ignited something reckless inside. But it was the second message that cut deeper. Its tone was smooth, confident, almost affectionate, yet laced with malice. You got to push it further, don't be scared. You a Harris, you built for this. You want the world to see you as a man. Then do something no one forgets. King nodded, ego swelling with each word, as if he were being knighted for a grand, inevitable destiny. The voice belonged to someone who didn't see him as a mentee in need of protection. To them, King was a disposable instrument in a larger, carefully calculated scheme. Safety, consequences, his future, none of that mattered. The only goal was to inflict pain on 50 Cent, and King was the chosen weapon. This connection hadn't formed overnight. It traced back months, rooted in King's intense craving for approval from those he viewed as authentic OGs, rappers who claimed the streets he romanticized but never truly lived. While T.I. offered guidance grounded in lived experience and caution, King sought validation elsewhere. When this older figure, a man once affiliated with Murder Inc., a crew notorious for a bloody history of animosity toward 50 Cent, began pulling King into late-night studio sessions, exclusive parties, and private industry conversations, King felt truly seen for the first time. He was chosen, respected, and made to feel essential in a world his family's fame had shielded him from. The manipulation unfolded subtly at first. The man played on King's pride, his insecurities, and his frustration at being labeled a soft celebrity kid. "You're bigger than your daddy," he'd whisper during late-night conversations. "You can be the face of the new generation. No one's shaking the culture right now. You can." Those words landed like fuel on dry tinder. King, desperate to prove he wasn't just riding coattails, absorbed every syllable. The cemetery idea wasn't born from King's own mind. It was presented as a legendary move, a chance to carve his name into hip-hop history. "This will make you unforgettable," the man had said. "This will get everyone talking. This will show you fear nothing, not even 50. You got to break the biggest statue to build your own." To King, it sounded like strategy, boldness, the kind of audacity that earns respect. He didn't grasp the spiritual violation. Disrespecting the dead is sacred ground in hip-hop culture. Graves are not props, ancestors are not punchlines. Sabrina Jackson, 50 Cent's mother, was not just a name, she was sacred, the foundation of his survival story, the wound that never fully healed. King, sheltered from the codes of the streets, saw it as harmless provocation. The mastermind behind it knew better. That was exactly why it had been chosen. The escalation gained urgency when a leaked DM exchange briefly surfaced on a gossip page before vanishing. Screenshots spread like wildfire. In them, King questioned the plan. "You sure this is going to work?" The reply came cold, calculated. "Trust me, 50 won't touch you. He'll be too scared to look weak beefing with a kid." Another followed. "And if he does react, even better." This wasn't mere clout chasing. It was bait. It was engineered to provoke 50 Cent into a public outburst, painting him as irrational while resurrecting a feud the older man had never forgotten. The objective was precise: force 50 to reveal emotion, drag old wounds into the light, and settle scores through a naive proxy. The first major revelation came when someone on T.I.'s team traced the number in the leaked screenshots. It connected to a figure once tied to Ja Rule's circle, known for stirring drama and publicly jabbing at 50 before fading into obscurity. Until now. When T.I. realized the breadth of the manipulation, his fury erupted. He confronted King directly. "He's using you. He don't care about you. He's trying to start a war with that man through you." King, defensive and entrenched, shot back. "Nah, he believes in me. He sees what you don't." The words cut Tiny to the core. They revealed the depth of the manipulation, not just inflating ego, but actively driving a wedge between father and son. The family, long protective, now faced a harsh reality. King had been co-opted by forces exploiting his desire for respect. The discoveries didn't stop there. A check of King's recent Cash App activity revealed a troubling pattern: $1,000 here, $3,500 there, up to $12,000. Payments were made for the cemetery footage, the follow-up content, the lines delivered on camera. Every orchestrated detail had a price. This wasn't mentorship or guidance. This was bribery, pure and simple. King wasn't being empowered, he was being purchased. The disrespect, the location intel, the rehearsed bravado, all bought and paid for by a grown man weaponizing a young man for personal revenge. While T.I. confronted King, 50 Cent moved on a parallel track. Without intermediaries, no lawyers, no managers, no polished statements, he reached out. Directly to the alleged mastermind. What was said remains unknown, but sources say the man was rattled. He powered off his phone for 2 full days, disappearing from the digital world. A cryptic anonymous message soon reached 50. "He ain't the only one. Look closer at King's team." One line, but it triggered every survival instinct 50 had honed through years of betrayal and danger. This wasn't external drama alone. The threat was inside. A mole lurked closer than anyone realized. While the internet fixated on headlines screaming 50 versus King, the war begins. 50 stayed publicly silent, yet worked relentlessly behind the scenes. Calls to trusted contacts, digging through old connections, pulling receipts, cross-referencing social histories. By the early hours of the morning, the puzzle snapped into focus. King had an insider, someone he treated as older brother, as street family rather than blood. This man, known as Smoke, had ties to Murder Inc.'s production side from the early 2000s. He'd faded from the public eye after the label collapsed under legal pressure and 50's dominance, only to resurface as a mentor for up-and-coming talent. For months, Smoke had been in King's ear. "Your daddy too clean to understand real beef. You got to show you're different. You can stand next to legends if you disrespect legends. You ain't a kid no more. Time to prove it." He provided cemetery details, emotional nudges, and repeated reinforcement, making the plan feel righteous. He even physically drove King to the gravesite. The footage that would stun the world, the laughing, the pointing, the arrogance, the dismissive lines, was orchestrated. Smoke-fed dialogue, directed tone, framed shots. What appeared as impulsive youth was, in reality, produced performance. The escalation didn't end there. Smoke arranged transportation and scripted the follow-up. The Black Rose video, filmed in front of 50 Cent's childhood home. Multiple takes, alternate angles, precise wording. This wasn't teenage rebellion, it was a calculated psychological assault. Every element targeted 50 Cent's past, his trauma, his unhealed scars. It was a performance designed to humiliate and provoke, orchestrated by a seasoned manipulator hiding behind a naive pawn. Inside the Harris mansion, chaos reigned. T.I. confronted King, demanding names, details, explanations. King, still caught in loyalty and manipulation, shielded Smoke fiercely. "It was my idea. I did it myself." But the truth was undeniable. Voice notes from Smoke, pinned maps to the cemetery, ghost-written scripts, Cash App transfers, coordinated pickup times. The final, damning message from Smoke read, "We about to humble a legend. Welcome to the big leagues." T.I. in fury reportedly hurled the device across the room. "He set you up. He set us all up. You're playing with a man who don't play," he said. Only when T.I. pressed harder did King's expression shift. "He used to do his dirty work. He don't care if you get hurt." The layers peeled back further. Smoke hadn't acted alone. He coordinated with the older Ex-Murder Inc., affiliate nursing decades-old grudges against 50. Together, they built King's ego to dangerous heights, presenting him as chosen to carry out a legendary act. The plan unfolded in phases. Phase 1. The grave desecration to inflict emotional pain. Phase 2. The Black Rose video at 50's childhood home, deepening the personal violation. Phase 3. A full diss track, vocals laid down by King with lyrics ghostwritten by Smoke and the older affiliate. Vicious, personal, unreleased, but confirmed in industry whispers. 50 Cent learned of the track through reliable sources. The grave video stung, the Black Rose footage burned. But the deeper violation came from the exploitation itself. A young man weaponized to dishonor the dead. Crossing that line, using a child to enact vengeance, was unforgivable. Sources say 50 slammed his fist. "I'm done playing with these clowns. I want the ones behind it, not the boy." His focus shifted decisively to the orchestrators. Then Smoke vanished. Phone disconnected, social media scrubbed, address abandoned, vehicle gone. He disappeared the same day details began leaking. King called, no answer. T.I. reached out, silence. Even the older affiliate could not locate him. The abandonment was total. Smoke had used King as a pawn, then vanished when the heat intensified. Questions swirled. Who warned him? Who signaled 50 was closing in? The speed of his exit suggested foreknowledge of real danger. This saga revealed the darker underbelly of hip-hop's mentorship culture. Young artists hungry for street credibility, particularly those born into fame, are easy prey for bitter veterans nursing old wounds. King's pursuit of realness left him vulnerable to manipulation, ego inflation, and coercion. What began as a few voice notes in a parked SUV spiraled into family fractures, financial exploitation, and a feud threatening to consume everyone involved. T.I. Fack. Ed the unimaginable, not just protecting his son, but reclaiming him from forces that had warped loyalty into a weapon. King, caught between ego, manipulation, and burgeoning regret, stood at the storm's center. 50 Cent, scarred by loss and betrayal, acted with methodical precision, demonstrating that patience and strategy often outweigh immediate reactions. The fallout continues to unfold. Silence from key players speaks volumes, crossing sacred lines in hip-hop, especially those involving the dead, carries consequences that outlast viral moments. This wasn't just a beef. It was a calculated, produced desecration, bought, directed, and enabled by those prioritizing revenge over a young man's well-being. It highlighted unresolved trauma, the weight of legacy, and how easily young egos can be weaponized. Sabrina Jackson's memory deserved better than ammunition for grudges decades old. King, in seeking respect, risked far more than viral clout. And the masterminds. Their plan backfired when the footage spread faster than anticipated, exposing connections, cash trails, and manipulations. Hip-hop watched, waited, and wondered what came next. In this world, silence from 50 Cent often signals strategy, and strategy from him rarely ends quietly. The storm that formed behind the scenes had broken into the open, and no one involved would emerge unscathed. Hip-hop blogs quickly pieced fragments together. King Harris, the young heir of fame, cast as an unwitting pawn. Smoke, his so-called mentor, as the on-the-ground director. The older Ex-Murder Inc., affiliate, as the strategist. The objective, clear in hindsight, was audacious. Provoke 50 Cent into a public misstep, revive old animosities, and humiliate a legend through proxy. but the backlash ignited with ferocity. Snoop Dogg dropped a cryptic post. "Kids ain't supposed to carry grown men's beef. Yeah, y'all dirty for that." Meek Mill weighed in. "Some OGs need to be in jail for the way they manipulate these little dudes." Comment sections blazed with outrage, the tone shifting from fascination to moral reckoning. Social media became a mirror reflecting industry-wide disgust at exploitation disguised as mentorship. T.I.'s close friend Tony Yayo added fuel to the fire. "They woke up a demon they can't handle." The post went viral, amassing millions of views, feeding the public's appetite for scandal. Then T.I. himself addressed the storm during a live session. His face taut with anger and exhaustion, he spoke with the gravitas of a father confronting a systemic injustice. "My son made a mistake," he said, "but the grown men who put him in that position, they're the ones who crossed the line." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "You don't manipulate a child into disrespecting the dead. You don't turn a kid into a weapon. You don't drag somebody's mama into no-rap beef." Another pause, then the promise. "And I ma handle those men personally." The declaration sent tremors through the industry. Speculation swirled. Would T.I. step into the fray directly, transforming personal defense into a broader confrontation? The situation escalated further when leaked audio emerged, purportedly Smoke's voice. The clips were chilling. "I ain't scared of 50, he just a businessman now. King going to be a star after this, watch. He don't even know why we chose him, perfect dummy." The cruelty was unambiguous. Smoke had dismissed King as expendable, using him for personal gain before abandoning him to the fallout. Celebrities amplified the condemnation. Boosie called for accountability. Smoke needed consequences. Charlamagne Tha God labeled it grooming and exploitation, while DJ Envy noted the disappearance as revealing. That says everything. Even Ja Rule tried to distance himself, briefly tweeting, "Man, y'all believe anything," before deleting it, leaving screenshots to fuel speculation. The X-Murder Inc. affiliate remained silent, his quiet intensifying suspicion. Meanwhile, TMZ reported that 50 Cent was gathering evidence, hinting at an exposé that could shake the industry far beyond memes or viral clips. King finally broke his silence via Instagram story. "They lied on me. I ain't snitching on my people." His words confused many. Blind loyalty to Smoke, the man who had abandoned him, defined King's response. He remained entangled in manipulation, unaware or unwilling to acknowledge the depth of betrayal. Warnings from family and mentors were dismissed as noise, while allegiance to the orchestrators remained paramount. The saga exposed hip-hop's vulnerabilities. Unresolved grudges exploited youth, fame's children chased authenticity in perilous directions, and personal trauma became ammunition. Sabrina Jackson's memory, sacred to 50 Cent, became collateral in a calculated campaign. T.I. fought to reclaim his son from toxic influences, while 50, scarred by betrayal and survival, pursued justice methodically. Smoke's disappearance escalated stakes. Running implied more than fear of reputational damage, it suggested the threat of real consequences. With mounting evidence, the masterminds faced exposure next. What began as voice notes and cemetery footage unraveled into conspiracy, betrayal, and potential reckoning. Hip-hop watched, breathless, as lines blurred between art, ego, and genuine peril. No one emerged unscathed. Tiny Harris, too, weighed in quietly on a fan page. He doesn't understand everything yet. Her words spoke volumes about King's state of mind, still in the dark, oblivious to the full unraveling. He hadn't grasped that Smoke had vanished into thin air, phone dead, presence erased. Nor did he understand that the X-Murder Inc. affiliate was scrambling, watching carefully laid plans collapse under scrutiny. Most importantly, King failed to realize the industry tide had shifted, not against him, the impulsive young man chasing validation, but against the adults who had orchestrated the scheme. Then the biggest twist detonated across timelines. An anonymous former Murder Inc. employee leaked a single, chilling message that froze the internet. There's a third person involved. The one who started the whole plan, not Smoke, not the affiliate, someone bigger. The phrase "someone bigger" sent speculation into overdrive. Who could outrank these figures in influence? Blogs, YouTube channels, and social feeds exploded with breakdowns, wild theories, and rampant conjecture. Celebrities weighed in. Third person. This is a movie now. Hip-hop is on fire. Suddenly, what had seemed like a simple stunt gone wrong transformed into a multi-layered conspiracy with hidden power at its core. Fans and analysts had just absorbed Smoke's disappearance as the peak drama, while bloggers pinned the affiliate as the true architect. Then this revelation upended everything. A third mastermind lurked in the shadows, a ghost wielding influence without needing clout, cash for relevance, or public revenge. This figure sought something deeper, the profound personal humiliation of 50 Cent. The first concrete hint came from that leaked message, igniting frenzied speculation. Who could stand above the remnants of Murder Inc.? In reach and motive. Hours later, T.I. received a private call from a trusted Atlanta industry veteran, a figure with decades of insider knowledge. "Tip," the veteran said, "King wasn't approached by two men. He was approached by three." T.I. fell silent as the caller continued. Smoke was the runner, boots on the ground. The affiliate was the strategist, feeding grudges and lines. But the third guy, he's the investor. The word landed like ice. In entertainment circles, investor rarely meant just a financial backer. It signified someone with protection, influence, access, and real-world power beyond rap beefs. This wasn't music drama anymore. It was business warfare. The third mastermind wasn't seeking a viral clip or a diss track. He wanted 50 Cent publicly broken, emotionally shattered. The motive traced back years. 50 had quietly torpedoed a major television deal the man had nurtured for half a decade. The project, meticulously developed and funded, evaporated the instant 50 announced his own competing series. Networks pivoted, executives withdrew, investors fled. Millions lost, not street money but legitimate capital. The man blamed 50 entirely. Revenge brewed slowly. Direct confrontation risked too much. Physical or lyrical attacks would backfire. Instead, the investor targeted 50's vulnerability, his mother's memory. Sabrina Jackson represented a wound 50 Cent carried alone, the trauma that forged his resilience. Striking there would hurt in ways fame, money, or influence could not shield. The investor recruited two willing accomplices, Smoke, desperate for relevance, and the affiliate, still burning from old defeats. King Harris became the perfect pawn, emotional, naive, hungry for street cred, and loyal enough to follow instructions. He believed in the hype, never recognizing he was disposable in a carefully crafted scheme. Insanity deepened when 50 Cent uncovered the third mastermind's identity before T.I. did. A loyal industry contact delivered a digital folder packed with proof, messages, voice notes, screenshots, wire transfers tracing the funding for the entire operation. Recognition hit immediately. No shock, no confusion, just cold acknowledgement. 50 reportedly muttered, "Oh, it's you." The most shocking layer. The third figure maintained a significant business relationship with T.I. himself. Betrayal now cut both ways, not just against 50, but against the Harris family. A supposed ally had orchestrated destruction from the shadows. The internet still lacked a name, but the shift was palpable. After reviewing the folder, 50 posted a single, stark line. "Everyone who played a part in this, I'm coming for you." No emojis, no trolling, just an unmistakable promise. Panic swept through the conspirators. The third mastermind shut down socials, canceled APIA. Rances postponed meetings, halted projects. Smoke remained hidden, the affiliate scrambled to distance himself. The investor, once untouchable, now faced exposure. Meanwhile, King began to grasp, slowly and painfully, the depth of his role. He had been the spark, But the fire belonged to men with long memories and grudges. His impulsive act, amplified by manipulation, had unleashed forces he was barely mature enough to comprehend. Then a new leak surfaced, a blurry nighttime clip, low-lit but unmistakable. King's voice cut through. "It's too late now. Part 2 already out there." He referred to the Black Rose footage, filmed at 50 Cent's childhood home under Smoke's direction. The footage was private for now, but questions loomed. Who held it, and when would it drop? If the graveyard video had stung, this promised wounds that cut deeper, more personal, more humiliating. Insiders whispered the unreleased footage escalated the initial disrespect, turning calculated desecration into a public psychological assault. What had begun as reckless clout chasing by a teenager evolved into a meticulously funded revenge plot spanning 3 powerful men, one with enough influence to rattle the entertainment world. 50 Cent now held every piece: the receipts, the identities, the motives. Consequences loomed for those who had exploited a child to strike at his most personal trauma. King, still defending Smoke publicly, "They lied on me. I ain't snitching on my people," remained blind to the betrayal's depth. Smoke's abandonment, the affiliate's silence, the investor's retreat, all spoke volumes. 50 Cent's methodical approach promised reckoning. Hip-hop watched, holding its breath. The lines between ego, art, and real-world peril had blurred irrevocably, and in this high-stakes game, no one would leave unscathed. The questions lingered, circulating like whispers in the dark corners of the internet, fueling endless speculation. Did King Harris truly understand the fire he had ignited? Was Smoke tipped off before vanishing, disappearing just as the backlash surged? Would the ex-Murder Inc. affiliate crack under the mounting pressure? Should the name of the third mastermind finally be exposed or remain a shadowy specter in the background? Would T.I. confront his business associate directly or let 50 Cent handle it? And most pressing, who held part 2 of the footage? Someone possessed it, circulating it privately, waiting for the perfect moment to unleash maximum damage. Fans turned comment sections into virtual war rooms, mapping out connections, dissecting motives, and predicting the fallout. Blogs struggled to keep pace with the raw speed of speculation. If this chapter felt messy, Smoke's suspicious ghosting, the investor reveal almost unbelievable, King's chilling private message haunting, insiders hinted the next drop would eclipse it all. What began with a short video in a cemetery had evolved into exposed conspiracy, fractured loyalties, and a reckoning that threatened to shake the industry. 50 Cent, a survivor of far worse, prepared to finish what others had started. The culture held its breath, knowing that the next revelation could change everything again. The saga had already pushed hip-hop into uncharted territory. Family wounds were ripped open, old grudges weaponized, and a young man was caught in the crossfire of grown man vendettas. But the emergence of a third mastermind elevated the drama from messy beef to something resembling a calculated corporate hit disguised as street theatrics. 50 Cent now held the evidence, irrefutable and damning. A digital folder containing wire transfers funding the stunts, coordinated messages, and voice notes plotting each phase. Yet he didn't rush to post wild accusations or mock his adversaries online. Instead, he issued a single-line warning. "Everyone who played a part in this, I'm coming for you." In the digital age, the brevity carried the weight of a guillotine, and the culture understood immediately. This wasn't trolling. This was a declaration from a man who had survived attempts on his life and built an empire by turning enemies into footnotes. The investor, the hidden third figure, reacted as someone who had gravely underestimated his target. Social media accounts went dark overnight. Scheduled appearances disappeared from calendars. Production on upcoming projects stalled as legal teams mobilized. 3 lawyers in one night wasn't exaggeration. It was full damage control. The man's business ties to T.I. complicated matters further. What appeared to be a strike at 50 Cent now carried collateral consequences, striking at someone T.I. had trusted in boardrooms and deals. T.I., already reeling from the family fallout, now faced betrayal from someone close in business as well as in strategy. The layers of the conspiracy became clear. Smoke acted as the hands-on facilitator, the Ex-Murder Inc. affiliate provided bitter planning and direction, and the investor, the silent Calculati. NG Financier harbored the deepest grudge. Years ago, 50 had quietly undermined a major television deal the investor had nurtured and funded. When 50 announced his competing series with major stars attached, networks pivoted, executives withdrew, and investors fled. Millions were lost, not street money, but legitimate industry capital. The man blamed 50 entirely. The revenge was carefully measured. Direct confrontation, physical or lyrical, would have risked backfiring against a figure like 50 Cent. Instead, the attack was aimed at the one vulnerability 50 had never fully healed: his mother's memory. Sabrina Jackson represented a wound no money or fame could shield. Targeting that personal trauma was a calculated strike, designed to provoke emotional devastation beyond anything a rap feud could produce. King Harris became the perfect pawn. Emotional, naive, hungry for street cred, and eager to prove himself, he followed instructions, believing the hype, unaware he was disposable in a meticulously crafted scheme. Smoke had vanished into thin air, leaving King without guidance. The affiliate's silence hinted at calculated distancing, and the investor's retreat into shadows signaled both fear and strategic patience. King remained in partial awareness. His Instagram defense, "They lied on me, I ain't snitching on my people," was stubborn loyalty to figures who had abandoned him. Reality crept in slowly. Family interventions intensified. T.I. confiscated devices. Tiny Harris's subtle fan page comment hinted at quiet heartbreak. Siblings circled protectively. The Harris mansion felt more like a war room than a home. King had chased street respect, but all he earned was isolation, scrutiny, and confusion. Then came the leaked, blurry nighttime clip, adding fresh fuel to the fire. King's voice, low and defiant. "It's too late now. Part 2 already out there." He referred to the Black Rose footage, filmed at 50 Cent's childhood home under Smoke's direction. Symbolic props, scripted taunts, multiple takes, all designed to invade sacred space and provoke the deepest emotional reaction. Someone held the footage privately, either timing its release for maximum impact or shopping it for leverage. Theories ran wild. A disgruntled insider, a hacker exploiting the chaos, or perhaps 50 himself holding it as strategic leverage. Whispers suggested the content escalated beyond the cemetery clip. More personal jabs, deeper cuts into 50's early life, elements designed to provoke a public emotional meltdown. Industry reactions hardened. Snoop Dogg's warning that kids shouldn't carry grown men's beef resonated louder. Meek Mill's call for accountability against manipulative OGs gained traction. Even outsiders like Boosie and Charlamagne Tha God weighed in, framing the situation as exploitation bordering on grooming. Ja Rule's deleted tweet only amplified suspicion that Old Murder Inc. ties ran deeper than publicly admitted. T.I.'s live declaration, "I'ma handle those men personally," hinted at direct confrontation, potentially pitting him against his own business associate. The Harris family, fractured by King's rebellion, began uniting in defense mode. Every move, every word, every deleted post signaled the high stakes of the battle. 50 Cent, meanwhile, remained eerily composed publicly. No lengthy rants, no immediate releases. Those close to him described a focused intensity, gathering evidence, consulting quietly, preparing for the next move. He had long understood that silence amplified fear. The investor's sudden retreat confirmed his awareness. Smoke's vanishing act suggested warnings of real-world consequences beyond the internet. The affiliate hovered in limbo, caught between denial, panic, and strategic survival. As the Black Rose video loomed, questions multiplied. Did King finally understand he had been used as a disposable tool in a revenge plot far older than his career? Would T.I. force a face-to-face with the investor, risking business fallout to protect his son? Would 50 release the full dossier, Names, transfers, recordings, dismantling reputations methodically. Or would the leaked Part 2 drop first, forcing everyone's hand? Fans turned comment sections into speculative maps of betrayal and motive. Blogs scrambled to keep pace, often trailing behind raw theory. This wasn't another rap feud. It was a case study in how deep-seated grudges could exploit vulnerability, how privilege collided with pain, and how one teenager's misstep could trigger a full-scale, multi-layered attack with real-world consequences. What began as King's misguided attempt at toughness had revealed a web of manipulation funded by genuine power. 50 Cent, the survivor who had turned every loss into leverage, now held the upper hand. The investors' millions couldn't buy immunity from consequences. Smoke's chase for relevance ended in hiding. The affiliate's old wounds threatened exposure. And King, he stood at the precipice, slowly realizing that chasing legends by trying to break them often left you broken instead. The next leak, Part 2, promised to reignite the blaze. Fans speculated about what it contained. Escalations beyond the initial disrespect, symbolic invasions of sacred space, taunts engineered to provoke emotional breakdowns. Whoever released it, whoever timed it, wielded power that could reset the balance entirely. Hip-hop waited, breathless. Every deleted post, every private call, every cryptic story amplified the tension. The war was far from over. In fact, the real battles were just beginning. And through it all, one truth crystallized. No one emerged unscathed when grown men weaponized grudges against children, leveraged power for revenge, and targeted the deepest, most sacred wounds of a survivor like 50 Cent. The stakes had outgrown memes, bars, or viral clips. This was personal, strategic, calculated. And in the shadows, the third mastermind, the investor, realized that he had stirred a storm capable of leveling everything he once believed untouchable. The culture held its breath, knowing that when the next revelation landed, it would redefine alliances, expose long-hidden manipulations, and leave scars that time, and social media, could never fully erase.